If Prince Harry lied on his application, he would face up to 5 years in US prison and also deportation if he were to be in the United States at the time. And so these are very serious federal criminal offences if he lied on his application. So all we're asking here is for the right of the American people to see exactly what Prince Harry put down on his immigration application. It's as simple as that.
He's about to be chucked out of the States.
Just to be deported from the US. That's quite a fall.
Harry and Meghan are two of the laziest, narcissistic people on earth. If you commit a federal crime, you are never allowed back into the United States, actually. And so I have to say that I do believe that this very important issue of Harry's immigration records has been an important factor in the background of the Sussexes' decision to leave the United States. It's one of several key factors that are in play. After all, this is a very sudden surprise decision.
Say that again.
Even the King did not know about this until last Sunday.
If Prince Harry was found to have provided false information on his immigration application, the consequences would be severe. He could face up to 5 years behind bars in a US prison. And if he were in the country at the time, deportation would almost certainly follow. These aren't just minor infractions. They are serious federal offenses with heavy legal repercussions. The bottom line is straightforward. The American public deserves transparency. They have every right to see precisely what Prince Harry declared on his immigration paperwork. It's a simple matter of accountability, nothing more than that. There's a widespread perception that Harry and Meghan are, frankly, among the most entitled and self-absorbed figures on the global stage today. If someone commits a federal crime, especially related to immigration, the rules are clear. You don't get a free pass back into the United States.
He took Meghan and the kids, they came over privately to see the King a few weeks ago. When she said, "I'll never set foot in this country again," and when she said the royal family is racist, and when she slagged off almost every bit of the institution, why does she still want her daughter and son to be a prince and princess then? Part of a racist institution.
And what people are feeling about this couple is they don't want peace in the royal family. They don't want the King to offer olive branches. They don't want William and Catherine to forgive and forget, because this pair of ingrates, this pair of grifters who went over to California, first thing they did was start giving interviews calling the royal family racist, and by the way, calling everybody in Britain a racist slave driver. So after that, we're not going to pay for them, and we don't want the King, we don't really want peace in the royal family. We want the King and William to tell this pair where to get off.
That's the law, without exception. Given all this, it's reasonable to think that concerns over Prince Harry's immigration status have played a significant but hidden role behind the scenes of the Sussexes' shocking decision to leave the US. This wasn't just a snap choice made without any pressure. It's part of a complicated puzzle with several critical pieces in motion. The announcement was so unexpected that not even the King was informed until the previous Sunday. Part of the controversy revolves around a staggering amount of documentation, 7 mandatory forms stretching across nearly 2,500 pages that make up Prince Harry's immigration file. We are demanding that every one of those pages be made public so the American people can understand exactly what happened behind the scenes. I have personally urged former President Trump and Senator Marco Rubio to support full transparency by backing the release of these important records. On another note, Prince William was apparently left completely in the dark by all of this, adding another layer of drama and tension to an already explosive situation.
It's interesting that all of this dovetails with the feds coming after Harry for having possibly falsified his application forms, because I don't think that they would have moved quite so quickly and quite so decisively had they not discovered that the feds that he stands a chance of being arrested by the feds. And it's very serious. I have to look at my notes to refresh my memory. But it's like several years in prison. If he is found to have lied, it's a federal offense, and I think it's 5 years in prison, mandatory. So, and it doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter what your visa is, it is mandatory.
The turning point for this really happened with Associated News Limited. This was, of course, the big Daily Mail case that Harry believed he was going to win. This, he was told, was going to solve everything. He was the Dragon Slayer. He was going to have so much money. When that didn't work out, that was the final decision. What I can tell you first, though, Ainsley, is you will notice it's all about Harry returning back. Meghan remains very silent, and I've been told from an excellent source, rather, shall we say, concerned about not only a welcome over here in the United Kingdom, and I think that's a bit harsh, but you have to say everything she's done has actually turned to dust.
The ripple effects continue to spread, making this a story that is far from over. He's the future king, a fact that carries immense weight and expectation. That's why this decision made by the Sussexes is nothing short of extraordinary, almost seismic in its impact. You have to stop and wonder, why would they choose this path? Especially considering the uphill battle they face with public opinion. In the United Kingdom, their reputation has taken a significant hit. Monumentally unpopular doesn't even begin to cover it. And it's not just across the pond where their standing has suffered. Their favorability in America has also been steadily declining. So, when you take all that into account, their decision shocks the world, leaving many scratching their heads. There's no doubt something profound, something deeply personal and complicated lies behind their choice. One of the pivotal elements that can't be overlooked is the visa issue.
Basically, you know, they can frame it any way they want, right, Ainsley? The bottom line is they're back, broke and busted. It didn't work. The idea hasn't come along. And the really turning point that a lot of people should look at in this long-going narrative, and you do not believe that this only happened on Sunday. You do not organise schools and all that sort of stuff. This has been going on for a long time, right? I mean, you know, as a mum, it's not easy, right? So this has been going on a long time.
This is the biggest, most high-profile US immigration-related court case in decades in the United States. It's attracted a huge amount of attention in America. And all we're calling for, Kevin, is accountability and transparency here. No one should be above the law. Did Prince Harry lie on his US immigration application over his drug use? Was he honest and truthful?
In which case, why was he allowed in?
Yeah.
This plays a surprisingly crucial role, not just a minor inconvenience, but a core reason influencing why Harry and Meghan ultimately chose to make their exit across the Atlantic. We see this echoed again and again, both in public applications and the various books telling their story. And yet, while everyone seems to discuss it, many walk away leaving the real truth unspoken, whistling as if to avoid digging deeper. But when you look closely, the story reveals itself in a much more intense light. The financial deals surrounding this move, labelled as the most lucrative of Harry's life, are often portrayed to make Meghan seem like the driving force behind a major paid confession or deal. But here's the real kicker. There's a critical piece sitting quietly in official files that many overlook. It's an absolute game changer. Legal expert Bill Gardner makes it crystal clear, without mincing words or softening the blow. If Harry had been standing on American soil when this visa issue came to a head, the consequences would have been severe, up to 5 years behind bars in federal prison. And that's not speculation, it's laid out in black and white.
The State Department,
Yes.
in terms of your long legal battle to
Yes.
reveal the details of his visa application, where you're now at is the State Department is reviewing that, and say how many documents are
Yeah,
involved?
so they have nearly 300 documents that they are reviewing. They've reviewed an initial 18 documents, which they declined to release. There are in total 307 documents and close to 2,500 pages relating to Prince Harry's immigration application. We are calling for the release of all of those documents to the American people. I've also called for President Trump, for Secretary of State Marco Rubio to support the release of those documents. Prince William was completely blindsided by this. He's the future king. And so this is an extraordinary decision taken by the Sussexes. And, you have to ask, why have they made this incredible decision? After all, they are monumentally unpopular in the United Kingdom. They're they're increasingly disliked, of course, in America as well. But this is a shock decision by them. So there must be something in the background with regard to why they made this decision. I do think the visa issue is an important issue overall in terms of the key factors involved in Harry and Meghan's exit across the Atlantic.
But the part that truly matters now, the part that cuts through all the noise, is this: permanent exclusion from the United States. Imagine that never being allowed to set foot in the country again. It's not a simple fine or a quiet call from a lawyer to smooth things over. It's a permanent ban, an absolute prohibition, no exceptions. And yet, almost everyone glosses over this detail as if it's irrelevant. But this is the crucial fragment of the story, the piece that frames everything else. This is where the gravity of their situation sinks in, and why their choices carry such enduring consequences. Imagine thinking you've outsmarted the system, slipping away from the endless web of bureaucratic paperwork, only to realize it's a trap that never lets go no matter how far you run. That's the harsh reality for anyone caught with falsified documents by American authorities. It doesn't vanish after a few days or even a few years. Once it's on your record, it's there forever etched in stone, haunting your every move. Someone asked her directly if an arrest was possible at an American airport. Without missing a beat, she answered with unwavering certainty, absolutely. There's no loophole.
Here's the issue. In America, I've done it myself, used to live there myself, you have to fill out a visa form, a visa application, and the big question is, have you taken drugs? Have you been convicted of drugs? If the answer to any of that is yes, then you don't get in. So, Harry writes this book, Spare, in which he admits to copious drug use, illegal drug use, cannabis, mushrooms, all that. And that begs the question, well, what did you put on your visa form, Harry? Did you say, no, I've never taken any drugs? Because if you did that, you have lied on your visa application form. That is a federal offence in America. It's a very serious offence. Or did you put on your form, yes, I've taken drugs, which would beg the next question, well, why was he allowed in?
You don't get to allegedly be setting up pap shots and leaking, and then on the other hand want to claim your privacy has been breached and you are the victim. The only victim in this case is Harry's bank account, because he will be picking up this bill, and I have no sympathy. Hypocritical prince.
No way around it. You simply can't challenge a filing cabinet. Those records exist, and they hold the power. But here's the real kicker, the part that doesn't involve drugs or false papers. For 6 long years, we've been sold a story, one of a brave, sensitive man, crushed by a harsh, unforgiving country and an equally relentless press. The narrative was that he'd fled, seeking safety under warm skies, far away from the reach of those who threatened his family. Now, look at how that story stands today. The money from Netflix, the $100 million deal we heard so much about, it was never quite that. The figure was closer to $60 million, and even that amount has shrunk dramatically. What first seemed like a lucrative agreement has dwindled to a mere first-look deal. And guess what? That deal came with no guaranteed money attached.
The reality, the vast majority of people who admit to illegal drug use are not allowed into the United States. And so did Harry lie? Was he given preferential treatment in order to enter into the United States? These are important questions. No one should be above the law, and that includes members of the royal family.
So Niall Gardner said 100% as far as he's concerned, Harry's come back because it's very close to the point where his alleged lie on his visa form will be revealed. If he lied on that, that will put the American authorities in a very difficult position, because that's a felony offence that carries a 5-year jail sentence.
Meanwhile, the personal touches, the jam and tea that once symbolized warmth and hope, sat unsold and unwanted until Netflix, left holding surplus stock, casually spread it out on card tables in an office, letting employees take home what no one would buy. $10 million worth, given away for free, like forgotten leftovers. Even worse, the film tied to the story flopped spectacularly. It was so unsuccessful at the box office that it was beaten by a compilation of cat videos. Yes, cat videos. and it lost by a staggering 74%, despite having far fewer views and none of the spectacle. The illusion had crumbled, and the truth was clear. Not every tale promised or told turns out the way we're led to believe. Half the screens worldwide lit up with headlines and rumors. Cats, oddly enough, became a strange symbol around them, little innocuous creatures amidst the chaos. What stood out most was the deafening silence from Elton John, who hadn't uttered a single word since he graciously lent them his South London home. The usual circle of influence, the Friends, the Clooneys, the Obamas, even Oprah, none of them offered a public word of support. The Kardashians.
And the stakes are very high for Prince Harry. So if it is revealed that he lied on his application, then he would not be allowed back into the United States. And so there are very significant consequences. Even if Harry remains outside of the US, there are big future implications for him. Basically, he would never be able to set foot back in the US, actually.
A bit like his uncle Andrew, right?
Yeah, yes. So, you know, if you...
half the royal family banned from America.
Yeah, if you...
They were dealing with the fact that Harry was living in the United States of America. So I think she and he are hoping that by ostensibly moving back to the United Kingdom, that is going to preserve him from arrest.
Usually always ready to stand by or beside, avoided the situation entirely, refusing even to be seen near them. Even their own neighbours, once perhaps tolerant or indifferent, now barely hid their relief at their departure. This is the quiet, controlled existence they carefully constructed, a fortress made not of bricks, but of carefully managed social shields and influence. This was their empire, built up over 6 relentless years of power plays, loyalty deals, and backroom gatherings. And yet, the moment an official administrative hurdle came crashing down, this formidable world crumbled in just 9 days. No public battle cry, no last stand, no fiery resistance. Not a single utterance of defiance from a man who's known throughout his life for never holding his tongue. Instead, he quietly boarded a plane and disappeared from the scene. It's staggering to compare this with the intense 4 years he spent locked in fierce legal battles against his own government, overturning security rulings and fighting in courts of appeal not once, but twice, yet refusing to back down. Now, in this case, not a single filing, no public statement, not even one hurriedly drafted paragraph has emerged in Washington.
Because the dynamics have changed. They don't have any amount of money coming in. Let's remember, all the money that came in was basically as a result of Harry. Meghan may have cut the deals, but Harry's existence is the one that made the deals possible. So the Netflix deal was originally, and it was never, as you and I both know, $100 million. But the fact of the matter is, it was a nice, tidy sum. And so then you had Spotify. Everything, and Spotify was supposed to have been Harry and Meghan, and it failed miserably when it was just Meghan. I think that had there not been a financial problem, there would have been less of an Meghan would have had no motivation to come back, but she needs to come back with Harry, because she can't be separated from Harry because she's not making money on her own.
Totally. And as we've always said, there's no other billionaire lining up. You know, she is damaged goods in a whole load of ways. So she has to cling on. She has to swallow her pride. And this is a woman who, above anything else, is strategic.
There's a stark difference between fighting when the odds seem favorable and surrendering when defeat feels inevitable. And no, this isn't about bravery or valor, it's something else entirely. Now, everything hinges on an exact moment in time, the 11th and 12th of August. Lady C herself revealed the crucial details on her own channel, reading aloud from a message she received on the 12th. And this message? It came directly from the State Department, setting the stage for what would come next. He had spent the entire previous day meticulously poring over his visa documents, not just casually flipping through them, but examining every detail with intense focus.
I have been fed information starting on the 12th of August, which I have kept stum about because I felt it was irresponsible of me to do anything in terms of revealing what was going on. Harry and Meghan, it's all cock and bull. They're not moving back to the United Kingdom because they want to. They're moving back to the United Kingdom because Harry is endangered as a result of the feds. Harry and Meghan have understood that if they didn't jump, he was going to be pushed, and they could not afford the embarrassment of him possibly being arrested. While now, if he's no longer living in America, I think they are hoping that the whole thing will go away. But as long as he was living in the United States, it wasn't going to be going away.
This wasn't some routine check. It was a painstaking cross-examination of his own life story as told on paper. But just when you think the situation couldn't get any more frustrating, she made a move that shattered all hope of clarity and fairness. She didn't speak up. She fell silent. And for 8 whole agonizing days, not a single word escaped her lips. Her silence was deafening, but when she finally broke it, the cold hardness of her tone sliced through the tension. "I could have been singing like a bird from the 12th of August, she said, her voice edged with steel and bitterness. But she hadn't. She had kept quiet. You can almost count out the days on your fingers. August 12th, the government spends 1 day reviewing his file. 4 days later, on the 16th, his father receives a cryptic phone call. Then, on the 19th, the rest of the family finds out through the harsh glare of a newspaper headline, and by the end of that very month,
Well, he knows he has a finite time on this planet. I don't believe that he's ill. I don't think he's got a dramatic change in his health. He's got scheduled appointments coming up, but he does realise that he's not in remission, and he's living with cancer, and so it probably focuses his attention on trying to avoid a house divided being a house that falls. This is the point. Well, I think it's about money, and I think it's about position. I think it's sad that they're using in a way the children in this respect. What it means, I think it means that Harry is going to try to inveigle his way back into royal duties long term. It's the only way that they're going to get full-time royal security. I think the kids are a little bit of a pawn in all this.
I've been saying for a long time, Harry knows that the window is closing because the moment that George comes of age, which is in about 5 years' time, Harry is a goner. This is his last window of opportunity.
he is gone, just like that. From the dusty filing cabinet in Washington to removal vans pulling up in Montecito only 9 days, I found myself double-checking the calendar over and over, making sure I hadn't confused the months or misread a single date. But no, the timeline was impossibly tight, almost suspiciously so. The timing was too perfect, too neat, and as you start to weigh the official story, the whole thing unravels completely. They claimed even the king only found out on that Sunday during a phone call. Imagine that a head of state casually informing his grandchildren that the entire country was about to change, like it was a last-minute school announcement. The reassignment said to have happened overnight, as if it were nothing more than a calendar update. Except the children were already set in their new lives, enrolled in schools, signed documents, settled into their new routines. Nothing was sudden for them. Robert Jobson.
If Harry is coming back and he wants there's going to be security, he's got to be on the inside of the tent, not the outside of the tent. Number one, he's got also to be apologising for what he has said, not only about the king and about the family, the betrayal, but about his brother. He's got to apologise and do it publicly and also apologise to the nation. I mean, according to him, our country was unsafe for him and his wife to be in. Now, all of these things have got to be done. You can't just wander back, make out you're the cheeky chappy act and do a few silly things, because we do know, don't we?
I am completely and utterly on William and Kate's side. The reason that I am that is William, because he was steeped in the importance of the royalty, the monarchy by his grandmother every Sunday. We know he used to go from Eton to Windsor Castle for lunch. He saw what it did to his grandfather, what happened when his grandfather was dying, when the Oprah Winfrey came out. He watched what it did to the wonderful late Queen with Spare and the decision she had to make. And more than anything, and you know this better than me, me, a lot of the BS that surrounded Kate's sort of disappearance emanated from friends and sources near to Harry and Meghan. They didn't stop it, they encouraged it. And if your partner was suffering from cancer and somebody in your family was pushing rumours around that there were other deeper reasons, I couldn't forgive that. And all those people are jumping up and down saying, oh, William and Kate need to forgive and forget. No, they've done nothing but play correctly and behave impeccably. And the other two have not.
A man with 3 decades of inside experience in this story dismantled the official account in moments, exposing how hollow and implausible the entire narrative was. Just imagine the scene, the clock ticking down to the final seconds. There was no way this could have happened on a lazy Sunday afternoon, someone insisted. Even if you were Mick Jagger himself, you simply can't pick up the phone and call a school saying, "Hey, my kids are enrolling on this exact date." It's unheard of. Schools have strict procedures to follow: application forms, approvals, background checks. Someone somewhere filled out those forms for 2 British schools, and it definitely wasn't done casually on a Sunday afternoon. That part alone tells you how carefully this process was handled, despite whatever the rumours claimed. Then, the heat really intensified, and things started getting murkier. Out from their camp came a statement. A so-called friend, an anonymous source without a name, quietly told some gossip blog that the decision wasn't about any single factor. Oh, and by the way, Harry's visa wasn't a reason at all.
I mean, William can't stand Harry, nor can Catherine. They despise Meghan and Harry. Camilla hates them both. Princess Anne, Prince Edward and Sophie also absolutely detest these people.
They don't believe the king is doing a good job. This is a big error. I was a monarchist. I'm a monarchist no longer. This is extremely dangerous to the institution long term. And those around the king, a lot of them are leaving. There'll be more that will be leaving. I won't say who.
What have we always said? The biggest risk, P. Dinah, for Prince Harry is to want to leave that woman while they are in California, because she would get custody of the children and he would not be able to return. So there is a lot going on here, P. Dinah, and I think a big part of this is Harry preparing for his post-divorce world, where he has the children in the United Kingdom. Because guess what? He's stupid, but when he reads in Vanity Fair, confirmation of a report that I first made, P. Dinah, that his wife is shopping around a post-divorce autobiography, surely that's when you wake up and you say, I can't stay here. I can't stay here. She is setting me up.
So he's forcing her. He's forcing her hand. I'm going back with the children. I agree. This is why it was so sudden. This is exactly why it's so sudden. What's Meghan going to do if Harry says, I'm going back with the kids? What is she going to do? He has every legal right to go back with these children. Meghan doesn't want to go, but now her cards have been played. She doesn't have a chance now, because now this is going to be on UK soil.
Now, pause right there and read that claim again carefully. Notice what's glaringly absent. No one said Harry was truthful. No one claimed he responded to questions directly. No mention was made about the fact there wasn't a file, no review, no active case. The friend simply said his visa was not a factor. Those are 2 very different things, and the only sentence anyone dared to attach a name, even if it was just a shadowy friend to. On one hand, you have a specific man, tied to a respected institution, working on an active federal case, with stacks of documents, official departments involved, and a real court date looming. On the other hand, a mystery friend, nameless and faceless, briefing only a blog. You be the judge. But wait, there's more. This second story is even darker than the first. While this anonymous friend was busy reassuring people that the visa wasn't a factor, behind the scenes, a very different narrative was playing out. By that point, his team had been feeding American media a narrative that pulled at the heartstrings. This was simply a devoted son rushing back to be by his ailing father's side. Our sick dad.
Tash, I want to show you first how the mainstream media are putting what I believe is completely unfair pressure on Prince William to change his stance. And I think William's stance, by the way, is the only responsible stance. That's my view. I'm very unhappy with King Charles's stance. But look at this, for example, from People magazine, leaked directly, of course, by by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And the headline is, Prince Harry's UK move is the best opportunity to heal the rift with Prince William. Exclusive source. We know who the exclusive source is. Okay, so we know this is Harry and Meghan using People magazine directly to try and apply pressure to change William's view. And this is coming all over the mainstream media, but I just thought it was one of the most egregious examples.
The king has got to be careful here.
Yeah.
He is being too soft towards these two.
I agree. And really, I think that the Prince of Wales should have a major deciding say in this as the future king. And Harry's behaviour, Meghan's behaviour has been absolutely disgusting. I mean, they're coming over to the UK as though they're the royal equivalent of sort of small boats crossing the channel, aren't they? And there'll be
it's our migrant crisis from America. Yeah.
It is a new migrant crisis with Harry and Meghan coming over.
They called it so tender, so relatable, so irresistibly human. It was a story that flew off the shelves and sold perfectly to audiences across the Atlantic. But then came Angela Levin, the woman who spent a staggering 15 months in close quarters with him, notebook in hand, chronicling every detail for his biography. She liked him, that's important. She said so openly, never once retracting that sentiment. This wasn't a hostile observer or a critic ready to pounce. She came in with a neutral, even positive view. She listened carefully to that favoured line that he returned home solely to be near his father and mother. What she uncovered, however, was as stark as it was shocking. In her own words on camera, she called that story a disgusting lie, pointing out its utter falsehood with genuine frustration.
They are very, I would say, nefarious and dangerous people in terms of the damage they want to inflict upon the royal family. They care only about themselves, and they cause a huge amount of distress and discomfort for the Queen, for the late Queen.
And Prince Philip. Those two made the final years of both Prince Philip and Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II hell. You know, and that's wrong. Those two people were in their 90s. Both of them, their last years were painful because of this couple.
This is unforgivable, and when they do end up in the UK, they should be put into exile, frankly. They do nothing for Britain. They hate Britain. They have been immensely destructive people, and they should be kept as far away from the royal family as possible.
And this isn't just some casual remark. Angela knows that family inside and out. She understands the dynamics, the expectations, the unspoken rules in that royal household. She revealed a key truth. The king likes to plan at least 6 months ahead. He prefers to have time to prepare, to reflect, to strategize. Yet, despite that, they gave this man a mere 3 days to sort everything out, 3 days to drop everything and return. She asked a pointed, almost incredulous question. Why would you do that to someone who was, by all accounts, really kind to you? The implication was clear and cutting. And let's not forget what's already on the record about how that generation of royals views their elders. There's a coldness there that's hard to ignore. Things took an even more personal turn when he was asked directly, on camera, about his father. Given every opportunity to respond sincerely, like a son should, his answer was chilling. I have my own family. The bluntness of that phrase, delivered so casually, left many viewers stunned. Really? That's the best you can do? People wondered. For some, it felt almost like a betrayal, an emotional line cross that can't be ignored or excused. Meanwhile, plenty of voices in the crowd were clamoring for forgiveness, insisting that William and Kate should simply move on, forgive and forget.
This pair of ingrates, Harry and Meghan, have plunged the royal family into an existential crisis. So far, I don't think the king is handling it well, but he better get it right, because this could be very bad news for the royal family if the king doesn't judge the mood of the nation right. We don't want the king to forgive and forget these two. We don't want William and Catherine to forgive and forget. We want them to be taught a lesson for calling us all slave-driving racists.
There's this real sense that they think that they are above everybody else and that they don't have to behave in this. The rules don't apply to them. That surely Prince Harry would be treated differently because he's Prince Harry when he's in America, even if because he obviously didn't think, I better not mention that, better not confess that in public.
But many felt that was unfair. They've played by the rules, maintained their dignity, and behaved impeccably throughout this entire saga, earning respect, not resentment. This wasn't a call to bitterness or anger. It was a plea for honesty and acknowledgement. Because sometimes, behaving correctly doesn't mean you have to ignore the truth or pretend hurt never happened. And the other two haven't made that move yet. Remember what we've always said? The biggest risk for Prince Harry, especially while he's still living in California with Meghan, is the possibility of wanting to leave her while they're still there. Because if that happens, she could secure full custody of their children, and Harry might never be allowed to come back to the UK to be with them. It's a dangerous and complicated situation, no doubt about it. There's so much at play here, and I genuinely think a huge part of what Harry is doing right now is getting ready for life after a possible divorce, one where he can have his children living with him back home in the United Kingdom. Honestly, it's baffling. Harry is making choices that seem so short-sighted, so reckless. But here's the kicker. When stories start emerging in places like Vanity Fair confirming reports I shared earlier that Meghan is already shopping around a potential post-divorce tell-all book, that has to be a wake-up call. Imagine reading that and realizing the person you trusted might be setting you up to look bad or take advantage. At that moment, if you're Harry, you might say, I can't stay here. I just can't. It's a moment filled with tension, doubt, and the fear of losing everything he holds dear. Now, shifting gears a bit, I want to zoom in on how the mainstream media is handling all of this, because it's worth paying attention to. A lot of the focus right now is on Prince William and the pressure he's facing to soften or change his stance on this family rift. From my perspective, William's position is the most responsible and grounded one here, even if I'm personally quite unhappy with King Charles's approach to it all. For instance, look at what People magazine published recently, and yes, this story was leaked straight from the camp of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, unsurprisingly. The headline boldly claims that Harry's move back to the UK is the best chance to heal the rift. It's a strong message aimed at swaying public opinion and influencing William to make a more conciliatory move. But whether that will happen remains to be seen, and the family tensions are far from over. As soon as he touched down on American soil, the situation snapped into sharp focus. That moment sealed his fate. From then on, he simply stopped trying to return. Instead, he settled on the estate, a sprawling mansion shadowed by an unexpectedly narrow reality. It was as if he had a grand palace but only a tiny, incomplete map to navigate his own life. And then there's a critical detail the gardener, or anyone from the immigration side, won't sugarcoat. Once you commit certain legal missteps, it's a hard no. You don't just miss a plane or face a minor delay. You get locked out of the country for a decade, and if you're thinking about fighting it in court or appealing, forget about it. The door closes forever. Literally, not ever. Now picture this, two princes, symbolically on two separate continents, yet neither able to step foot on the land that belongs to them in some way. The drama isn't just political or legal, it's deeply personal and profound. Here's the twist that turns the entire story on its head, and it all hinges on her. She holds an American passport, the golden ticket. She owns the house, has her circle of friends, her agents, and undeniably, the entire life she painstakingly built across the ocean. Whatever shadowy records or files are haunting him, not a single word in them touches her life. She is completely free. She could be on a plane by morning, and no official would raise a finger to stop her. His tangled paperwork mess lies behind them, across the ocean, but her complications are on this side of the pond, and they're almost ironically amusing. Immigration officials even admit, with a hint of disbelief, that no one has ever managed to prove she completed the British residency process she began all the way back in 2017. It's like she's in limbo, caught between timelines and regulations, with no clear answer in sight. So, let's pause and really take in the full picture Madame has landed in. The kids attend British schools, fully immersed in that world. The husband remains in Britain, effectively stuck, potentially trapped with no way back across the Atlantic. And the one who initiated this entire upheaval, the person who uprooted the entire family and dragged them across an ocean, turns out to be the only one actually free to leave. The irony, their own camp, their own group, isn't even fully aware the keys to freedom have slipped from their hands. Behind the scenes, it's clear he's not fooling anyone. Deep down, he's gripped by fear about what's looming ahead. This situation is starting to look like a royal-style arrangement, similar to that of Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, two people tethered by title but living completely separate lives. One heads south, the other north, technically still together but emotionally worlds apart. The respected biographer Tom Bower wouldn't even call it a reunion or a fresh start. It's something far colder, far more permanent. Cast your mind back 6 years ago. There he was, standing boldly on a stage, making grand promises to go and face the dragons for all of us. Yet, since then, nearly 100 legal battles have been lost. 2 major court cases brought against his own government ended in defeat. The irony? The very country he insisted on choosing over his family may soon refuse to welcome him again, closing its doors for good. As the days crawl by, everyone keeps wondering, why did they come back? But they're asking the wrong question. The question that matters isn't why they returned, it's why he can't go anywhere else. Picture this. In court, he conveyed the heartbreaking truth that his wife's life had become unbearable. On camera, he revealed that he can never, under any circumstances, bring his children back to their home country. To the world, this nation was no longer a safe haven for his family. And then came the twist: a single answer, spoken quietly in a book, exchanged for money, shattered every possibility of redemption. The place that once embraced him wholeheartedly now stands as the one place he is barred from stepping foot in again. Meanwhile, she, his wife, holds the freedom to leave whenever she chooses. But he's trapped, tethered to a place he can no longer call home. The date to watch out for is fast approaching. Within weeks, a crucial ruling on some key documents will drop, and if the verdict goes the wrong way, no press office in the world can spin the fallout. Imagine a scenario where officials caution each other not to mention certain truths, or to keep silent about uncomfortable facts in public. The consequences will be unavoidable and dramatic. This isn't just about celebrity drama or royal intrigue. This is a story about loyalty, sacrifice, and the tangled webs of law and family. Where loyalty to a chosen country clashes with the pull of a fractured family, and how one man's decisions can lead to isolation, even when surrounded by the people he once called his own. So, what happens next? Stay tuned, because this chapter is far from over. We'll be watching closely as the next dramatic twist unfolds, revealing truths that no one will be able to deny. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives like this. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you make of this unfolding saga? And be sure to share this video with friends who crave the untold stories behind the headlines. Your support helps us bring you more powerful narratives every week. Thanks for watching.